we get a little bit of a closer look at the new MonsterVerse villain, and it all starts right here with number one,
experience. Experience
this
is a result of
Goji
constant
Center.
exposure to a certain force or repetitive situation that in turn helps you prepare better for the next noteworthy occurrence.
I'm so
this
excited
comes
for this
with
movie.
time.
And
Nothing
it's so
gets
far
a bunch
away.
of XP out of nowhere. Now, by looking at this kaiju's physique
That
and
thing
taking
right
a look
there.
at the vast array of skeletons in this clip,
He looks
we
like
can
he's a
deduce
savage.
that yes, this kaiju has lived a long time.
But I don't feel like
and
he's the
two,
main
there
villain.
might
You know what
be
I'm
something
saying?
special about this guy.
Like, look
it's
at him.
likely that this thing is
He's
a
skinny.
skilled predator.
Skilled
or
predator.
you can also use the word hunter. This word
could
now
be.
completely sheds new light on this titan. For those of you who
He's just
consider
real frail.
yourselves
You know what I'm
hunters, you are
saying?
now going to like this thing a lot more. Successful
Okay,
predators
thank you.
or hunters all have one thing in common: knowledge. This takes
yep.
form in
That's
many
true.
things, such as one, being able to track
By
prey
the way,
by
guys, if you
identifying
haven't yet,
game
scroll
trails,
down, hit that
scats,
subscribe button
traces
for
of
me.
blood, disrupted terrain,
love.
heightened senses of smell, etc. 2. Knowing how to identify the weak points of said prey,
just feel
such
like
as the
this
neck,
new-
heart, or
this new
lungs.
MonsterVerse villain.
And more importantly, number 3,
I don't
being
think he's
able
the
to
main
develop a
villain.
vast array of hunting tools and weapons.
I think he's like a
But
stepping
we'll go
stone.
ahead and add a 4th one. A smart and experienced titan like this will most likely
He looks
understand that
mind-controlled,
spreading
bro.
its bandwidth by using traps would be much more useful. Placing these carefully in strategic locations where titans would wander by,
So he knows
ensnaring
how to
or
hunt,
trapping
okay.
them where he can comfortably come and kill the trapped kaiju.
Oh,
that,
no.
or potentially go a step further and cap it off by taming his own smaller creatures to aid him during hunting.
I don't
that,
think he's
or forming some
capturing
sort of
Kong, though.
symbiosis between
That's
itself
not happening.
and said creatures. We've mentioned
I
this
hope
word
not.
in the channel before. It's where two creatures of different species form a bond that is in most cases beneficial to both.
Mothra
The
and
MonsterVerse is
Godzilla.
no stranger to this concept, so
Love
we
it.
shouldn't be surprised if we see this again in this film. So now that we
wanna know what
understand
that
that
kaiju is,
experience
dude.
is something that potentially made this guy a good hunter, let's now cover some of its speculative
They gave us
physical
like
abilities.
10 seconds of info
In this
that
video,
trailer,
we
that's
will
it.
entertain the
Like
idea
30
that this
seconds.
animal can in fact be described as an avid hunter, and go as far as theorizing that this animal is very much fond of this activity. Or else,
Oh,
why would he
Kong.
continue to do this
Dang.
many times? We did discuss that this animal is deceivingly strong in a previous episode.
Deceivingly
but to
strong?
recap,
I
we
don't know,
mentioned that
man.
lanky ape builds don't necessarily mean weak physique.
That's true.
These fast
They
twitch
are pretty
muscles
strong.
allow this creature to inflict heavy impacts.
I just
But
feel like
today
he's a
we'll
stepping
delve
stone, like I
further
said.
and talk about the insane amounts of reach this animal has.
He does have that
especially when
wingspan,
we
though.
compare him to Kong. By looking at these
Yeah, that's
arms,
an
we can
advantage.
already tell that this creature will have an edge when it comes to delivering blows to many opponents.
He can punch him
Longer
from
arms
deep.
means you can reach the opponent before
like
he
that.
hits you. But Orangakong here can take this even
Orangakong?
further, literally. Let us remind you
Hey,
that
I
this
like
guy
it.
is most likely capable of crafting its own hunting weapons. And a weapon
him
frequently used by
Orangakong.
hunters that excels in both close and long-range combat are spears. Yeah, dude, even chimpanzees use these in real life.
That's
Spears
crazy,
can
bro.
be used to keep the prey at bay, stab at a distance while keeping the wielder far away, and can be thrown with pretty good accuracy.
Yeah, but what if Kong
We
has that
discussed
axe,
how this
though?
guy most likely has
Maybe
the
makes
knowledge
it
of the
into a
weak
spear?
spots of many kaiju.
Be even
Maybe
fight.
including Kongs and Godzillas. Knowing exactly where to strike, not just with spears, but with other weapons it might possess. Both crafted weapons and powers
If
it may
Kong and
have within
Godzilla
its
are on the
own
same
body.
team, though.
In a previous episode, we
I don't
discussed
know.
that this new kaiju
I mean, it
probably
shows the
has
skulls.
attributes that are not found in this Kong, because this guy's eyes glow blue, suggesting that hollow earth energy is also a factor here. It's possible
Either
that
that or
over
he's being
time
mind
this
controlled.
creature learns to use this energy and voluntarily redirect it through its skeletal frame to any extremity, such as its fists and legs.
So he would be a savage.
Electric shocks have proven to, in some cases, immobilize a victim,
I mean,
which
if he
would be
does
a
have those
very handy
powers-
ability to have while hunting another kaiju.
These movies right
All
here,
these
bro.
attributes are good
The
to
first
have,
ones.
but in order to beat Godzilla and Kong in a 1v2 combat, we
They
are
gotta
going to
be-
need something more special.
The brain
Mind
power?
games.
Mind games, okay.
That's right, no Titan can just pull up to Kong and Godzilla with a bunch of spears and hollow earth energy and expect to win.
Facts.
There's something that this animal probably has that can turn the balance of power. Apes have always
Mind
been known to be
control, perhaps?
incredibly smart, and some go as
can be
far
like,
as
"Hey,
being
Kong."
able to effectively communicate with other species.
Godzilla said your mom stinks.
We saw this happen in GVK when Kong was
I don't know.
actually communicating with Gia. So, can this ape do the same thing or better? There have been some videos circling around claiming that Orangakong actually said something in the beginning of the trailer. Right now, we're still on the fence on this, given that it's kind of unrealistic to think that this Kong can actually speak English. But what we do know for certain is that this monster would have certainly learned to communicate with or even mimic other titans,
like he's breathing
and
instead
especially
of talking.
with Kongs. That's right, even if Orangakong is able to get some points across to Godzilla, this thing will most definitely be able to communicate with Kong on a deep level. It would have been the first time he actually speaks to a member of his own kind, or close to. If this is true, then we can safely assume that this guy will begin to play mind games with him. Having said this, we are potentially seeing the first case of trash talking in the Monsterverse. This can also go as far as this guy learning about Kong's emotional weaknesses. But what's his emotional weakness? Well, upon meeting him, this guy would most likely figure out that he has lived alone his entire life and has only a few things that he really cares about. Something like Gia, for example.
He's gonna try to go after the little
watching
girl.
this know where this is going. A crazy titan like this, who enjoys the vile act of hunting and killing, will most definitely use this against Kong.
And he would just
In
step
the
on
next
it, really.
film, we must expect yet another tragedy. Because the moment where this guy realizes that this girl holds a special place in Kong, he will do everything in his power to hurt this child. And in doing so, anger Kong so much that he'll probably be driven into making rash, uncalculated decisions in combat, which is exactly what this guy would want. This isn't the first time we have seen this dynamic play out. Back in Kong Skull Island, it was this skullcrawler, Ramarak, who literally tried to do the same thing. But what about Godzilla? Well, this guy isn't getting away from the mind games either. Now, we would like to imagine that pissing Godzilla off would not be a difficult task, given that in the previous film, Godzilla literally took this personally and proceeded to go ape.
Yeah, but Godzilla's
if this thing is indeed the type of hunter we think it is, it's not too far-fetched to think this guy keeps trophies as well. Probably even his fair share of Godzilla body parts.
I need to know the moves.
If this guy ever decides to pull up with bones of Godzilla's fallen ancestors, or worse, even wearing the skins of these fallen ancestors, this will become more than enough to inflict the desired raging effect on Godzilla. This scenario has become even more intense. But is this really all this new kaiju's doing?
I cannot wait for this movie, bro.
Is this thing actually this malevolent to come up with all of this on its own? This blue glow also suggests that there might be something going on in the background.
Could you imagine
it's also
if
possible that
was
this
in this
ape
movie
titan
too?
is being controlled,
That's
or
what I'm saying,
at least doing the will of another greater power.
That's what I said.
Whatever this power may be,
Destroyer?
We'll be working on another episode to discuss this theory
Another
in depth.
episode?
But
That's
for
so
now,
bad.
we'll move on to the last
more episodes
segment.
of this.
How can this guy be defeated?
How can he be
Another
defeated?
reminder that literally all of this is speculation.
Yeah, all of this is speculation.
We need to explore two scenarios if we are going to answer this question. One is assuming that this creature is in fact controlled by another greater threat, which means that if this monster is ever to be liberated from this control, the greater threat has to also be defeated in conjunction. That's the boring answer. The fun answer is number 2. Both Godzilla and Kong somehow figure out that they can in fact be more powerful.
They mix together like some of these animations.
Now, it's not too far-fetched to believe that Kong can still harness the power of the Hollow Earth. After all, we do have a clue that hints at Kong also being able to transmit energy. If we go back to GVK in this clip, look closely. We can find that this axe handle glows when Kong raises it, indicating that there was in fact some energy transmission between this kaiju and the axe. If Kong ever learns this, then we are looking at possibly having a more powerful iteration of Kong in the next Monsterverse film. Perhaps even powerful enough to level the playing field with this giant ape all by himself.
I like that.
Allowing Godzilla to focus on any other threat that may appear later.
And what threat do you think could appear later? What other kaijus could there be? Y'all let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in tomorrow's video. Thank you for watching with me. I love ya. Goodbye.